why I'm dancing? Because I have an interesting tutorial for you today. My name is Omoyega Oluwatosin. I'm a Lagos-based fashion designer. In this video today, I'll be showing you how to create the inverted bust plate. You heard me right, the inverted bust plate. Bust plates are classic. That's one thing you should know. They are classic when you add them on your skirt, your shirt, or your gown. And you can also go bold, you can go extra with bust plates to create series of bust plates at the back of your project. And they're so dramatic enough that one per garment we do. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the tutorial. I have the back skirt block of a pencil skirt here, and if you notice, I've added my seam allowance. This is the seam allowance. We have a dart and we have the zipper allowance. This is the zipper allowance. Now this line that you are seeing here before the zipper line is called the center back line, and it is called the center back line. Now from this center back line, you will now measure 10 inches or more, depending on how much or how extra you want to go. You measure 10 inches from this line, and then you add your what? Your fullness that you want to use for the bust plate. Now, the question most of you will ask me is, where is the bust plate going to start on my skirt pattern? One, you can start from the knee line or below the knee line, or you can go 3 or 4 inches above the knee line. So once you go 3 or 4 inches above your knee line, all you have to do is to place your tape on the center back of your skirt. Then you do what? You mark 10 inches from that line, from the center back line. You do what? You mark your what? Your 10 inches. But as you can see in the video, I'm using a miniature pattern, so this is not up to 10 inches. So the next thing you are going to do, you are going to cut it on your fabric. I've cut mine on the fabric, and one thing you should notice that I'm cutting this place on fold. I cut this side on fold. If you open this, let me take my scissors and notch this part. If you open this, you will see that it is on fold. I did not cut it separately. What you have here, I cut it on fold. So I'm going to take it back, fold it back like this. The first thing you want to do on your skirt is to sew your dart. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. Once I'm done sewing the dart, I'll bring it back for you guys to see. Now I'm back. I've sewed my dart. This is what we have, and I gave it a nice press. This is what your dart should be looking like on the inside. Now you want to fold this like this and place your pattern on it. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sew a loose stitch from this waistline down to the hem line, following this line, the center back line. I'm going to be sewing a loose stitch. So I'm going to mark the center back from this. I'm going to mark the center back line from my pattern. So I'm just going to notch it with my chalk. So when I stitch from here to here, I know that I'm stitching the center back of what? Of my skirt. So I'll take this to the sewing machine. Once I'm done, I'll bring it back for you guys to see. So I need to bring this closer for you guys to see what I've done here. If you notice, I have a stitch running from the waistline up to the hem line. So this is the line that I stitched on, the center back line. Now we have what? We have our pleat allowance here. So now you remember that our pleat allowance is what? 10 inches. So you are going to make sure that you are dividing that 10 by 3. Once you divide 10 by 3, whatsoever value it give you, you apply it on what? On your skirt. You are going to divide this fullness into 3 parts. So let's go and divide 10 by 3. So when I divided 10 by 3, I have 3.3333, not up to 3.38 of an inch. This 3/8 of an inch, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to mark 3/8 of an inch there. So from this place, Since this place is not up to 3/8 of varnish, you just from the center line of the skirt, you are just going to mark what 3/8 of varnish from the center line. You are going to repeat the same thing here again, 3/8 of an inch. You mark again 3/8 of an inch. The rest, just leave it like that. Just leave the rest like this. Once you've marked 3/8 of an inch, you just want to go in. After marking the amounts like this, you can see that we have divided this into 3 parts. The next thing you are going to do, you are going to rule a straight line. Now our allowance for the plate has been divided into what? Into 3. Now you take this to your sewing machine and you are going to stitch on this line 1, 2. You are going to use a loose stitch. You set your machine to a loose stitch, then you are going to stitch on this line, on this first line and the second line. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I will do that and bring it back. Fearless hearties, I'm back. So I've run loose stitches on these lines, on both lines. I hope you can see this. I've run loose stitch on them. So the next thing you want to do now, you want to open the first line like this. You want to open your skirt like this. Let me go and give this a nice press and bring it back from here to here so that it will last. So I'm back. I've given the center back a nice press. The first thing you want to do, you want to make sure that the seam line is on the center back seam line. You are going to divide this into 2 using the seam line, making sure that the seam line is what? On the center back seam line. So this seam line now is going to be on the center back like this. You can see that automatically divided that first split into 2 following the what? The seam line. So I'm going to get a pin and pin this down on both sides. So let me repeat this first split and you repeat the same thing here. Now you are going to repeat the same process for the hem as well. You are going to make sure that the seam line on the first split and the seam line on the center back, they are meeting. So I'm going to do that again. You can see it has divided the pleat into 2, the first split into 2. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to pin it down. I'll repeat the same process for the second and third pleat. So the second pleat again, make sure that this seam line is matching with what? The first pleat seam line. So you are going to open it like this and make sure that the seam lines are matching. You can see I've matched the second seam line on the first seam line. I'm going to use that same pin and pin it down like this. I'll repeat the same thing for the hem as well. Now you want to repeat the same thing for the third pleat. So now make sure that the center back of this pleat is meeting with what? The seam line. This sharp the middle part of this line, the center back like this, is meeting what? With the seam line of the second pleat. You can see what we have. So you're going to use the same pin to pin it down. You can go with different pins, but I think this one pin is enough for this tutorial. You're going to repeat the same thing here, making sure that the center back is meeting with what? The seam line. After you have done that, I'm going to take this to my iron table and give it a nice press. Okay, what's this? So remember that we have one pin here. I'm going to remove it as well. And I'll give this a nice press. So you can now go in and iron the slit step by step. Repeat the same thing here. Do the same thing here. I'm working with a very beautiful plate like this. I always go in with my clapper, and I've told you it's one of the essential a fashion designer must have. After I'm done giving this a nice press, I'll just go in with my clapper and relax the seam. Wow, this is what we have. You can see what we have. So beautiful and nice. Wow, just relaxed on their own. And this is what the inside is looking like. I'm also going to give this a nice press. Wow, see, this is the back, this is the front, the back, this is the front of the skirt, and this is the back of the skirt. So after you are done with this, you are going to come down half an inch and stitch them together like this. You come down half an inch and stitch them together. And before you do that, you'd have gone ahead to remove what? All your seam. You remove the thread. Remember, they are loose stitches, so you remove all the threads. Once you have done, you now come back and do what? And stitch them together. Move that half an inch and do what? And stitch them together. So let me remove the thread. I will come back and show you what to do. Remove the thread, and this is what I have. So I'm going to move that half an inch and stitch it together. So now this is our plates. Wow, this is this back of the plates. You can see what we have here. You can see how beautiful it came out. So I'm going to wear it on this mannequin for you to see. And if you like this video, please give it a thumb up, like and share my video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that when I upload a new video, you'll be among the first person to get the notification. Bye.